This is NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen Engineering. Now, talking local, regional, and international NASCAR racing. Here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network and presented by Whelen Engineering and Hercules Tires. It is Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019, and I am flying solo here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, but it's okay. It gives me more airtime to just put my thoughts out here without Kyle Rickey. So Kyle, you are missed today. It is okay though. But anyways, this past weekend, a NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour veteran finds his way back into victory lane after a 2-year winless streak at South Boston Speedway. Ron Silk captured that victory at South Boston as the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour rolled into the state of Virginia, but it wasn't without a fight from Chase Dowling, the runner-up in last year's championship points, as he piloted the Jamie Tomeno car. Lots of action always at South Boston Speedway for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, and Justin Bonsignore, the reigning champion of 2018, just could not catch a break, it seemed like, finishing, I believe, outside of the top 10. So, interesting storyline to follow as the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour rolls into Thompson this up-and-coming weekend for the Icebreaker. Can Bonsignore make that comeback? We'll see. Will we see another new winner on the tour this season? Also, Doug Coby looking for another win. He'll be a good championship contender, I feel like, this year, going for, 6 championships now on the tour. Also, a last lap of excitement at the Irwindale Speedway out in California as the K&N West rolled in there. Came down to, I believe, a .003 margin of victory before local Trevor Huddleston and Tanner Gray, who we'll have on the show a little bit later, talking about the transition from NHRA to NASCAR. But plenty of excitement in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West this season. A last lap pass at Vegas on the dirt track by Hailie Deegan to collect another win, and a last corner pass by Trevor Huddleston to get that victory at Irwindale Speedway. And what made the moment even more special is the Huddlestons are so involved with Irwindale Speedway. And Tim Huddleston, Trevor Huddleston's dad, actually had the opportunity to call the win via the broadcast. His whole family joined him in victory lane as Trevor collected his first win on the K&N Pro Series circuit for Sunrise Ford Racing and Bob Brancotti. So obviously a very special moment, but he was followed up by Tanner Gray in that second place finish, followed by Derek Kraus, Jagger Jones, and Hailie Deegan rounding out the top 5. Deegan actually captured the quick time earlier that night, but just seemed that luck was not falling her way. But when we return from the break, like I said, we'll be joined by Tanner and his brother Taylor Gray, 2 drivers making that transition from drag racing over to the circuits of NASCAR here on the Motor Racing Network.
Whelen designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications. On the road, in the air, and around the world, Whelen is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Is your check engine light on? Don't ignore it. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today and let our professional parts people scan your vehicle for free. We'll retrieve the codes, discuss possible solutions, and even help you find a professional technician if needed. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts today for our free check engine light help. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen Engineering. Here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
2 familiar names have made the transition to the world of NASCAR. I'm joined in studio today by brothers Tanner and Taylor Gray. Most people might know the Gray name, more familiar with NHRA though. You, Pro Stock champion, youngest one ever, you making a name in the late model stock world, I think we should just kick it off with such a run route in NHRA racing. Why NASCAR? Why the transition and why now?
Well, I mean, for me, it's just, it produces more racing. NHRA is, you get so much limited time in the driver's seat. And for me, I want to be in a car as much as I can. So, that was one of the main reasons. And I've always had a passion for it. I actually started racing dirt track stuff when I was younger. And the only drag car I really ever drove was my dad's Pro Stock car. So, my family's been in it a long time, but I only drag raced 2 years of my life.
Yeah, so I never really did the drag racing stuff. I've always done the circle track stuff. I started on dirt and then just went to the late model stuff.
Now you guys are currently racing over at DGR Crosley, late model stock tour with the Cars Tour. You're doing a K&N East schedule with some K&N West stuff that I saw this weekend at Irwindale Speedway. Wild finish. Side by side, it was like, 0.03 margin of victory or something for Trevor Huddleston. First off, how did you end up over at Irwindale Speedway?
Yeah, I mean, it came along kind of late. We were planning on just running as much East stuff as we could and then transition in some ARCA and just see what happens. And, as we started the season, we decided that we wanted to get as much racing as we can and, just try to make sure I'm staying in the car. And so we made the trip out there to Irwindale, and man, that place is really cool. Probably one of the coolest short tracks I've ever been to. The racing that it produced was awesome with the bottom lane coming in late like that. So it was a lot of fun.
Irwindale, definitely one of my favorite racetracks. I will stand by that to the day I die, that I had the most fun racing at that racetrack. And Cars Tour late model stock, you recently got a victory here at Hickory, right in our backyard. What was it like being with DGR Crosley for such a short period of time and finding success so quickly?
Yeah, it was awesome. Definitely wasn't expecting to find success so quickly, but I definitely knew we could do it. But it was definitely a great feeling to get it so early in the season.
Now, you guys both have been out at Millbridge as well. We talked about that a little bit. You've been all over the place with your car history and what you have raced, but a lot of people that we see in the Millbridge area, they make a transition more to dirt. For people that don't know, Millbridge is a little tiny dirt track where they race outlaw karts. What transition did that take to go from a dirt outlaw kart to stock cars?
For me, before I even ran Millbridge, I was running 600cc micro sprints.
Was that on asphalt?
No, it was on dirt.
Okay.
Yeah, so I ran it out in Pennsylvania and up in California a little bit with Gary Selzy's kids, Dominic and Gio, and got to learn a lot from them. But the outlaw kart thing came along when I met Max McLaughlin. I walked into his shop and I'm like, what are these things? And, he started telling me about them and went and watched a race out there. I was like, man, I need to get some of these. And we got a couple karts and went out there and ran. And, I mean, to be honest with you, that's probably the toughest kind of car I've had to drive yet. Just like being able to run it up against the fence like that for, 20 laps is tougher than you think. It takes a beating on your body with how rough they are. So, as soon as I got in it, I got hooked on it and just ran it as much as I could. And I think it really helps a lot with your driving and being able to be smooth. And honestly, things seem to or feel like they happen a lot quicker at Millbridge than they do in a stock car. So I think it helps with that aspect of things. But the stock car thing came along for me in 2016 when we met Rob Fullard over at LFR. And things just didn't go like we had hoped there. And then the next season, 2017, that's when I got my dad's Pro Stock car.
And how about over here for you? Like you said, we've those outlaw karts. I've heard from a lot of people that's how it works. I've never driven one. Eventually, I hope to. But I've heard it's up on the wheel, and you see people like Rico and Kyle, and you mentioned Max McLaughlin, who it's funny because you're racing with him now in the K&N East with him behind the wheel of a Hattori car. But does it translate over for you? What did you take away from an outlaw kart experience to a late model stock?
Yeah, they're definitely fun, but I mean, to be honest with you, I wasn't the best in them things, but for sure. But I think they definitely help with like your hand-eye coordination and stuff like that. I was always better in the asphalt stuff than I was dirt, but yeah.
Now, quick question for you here, and we'll go into break here. DGR Crosley, I always say, has one of the best dynamics around. I mean, you've got almost a full rookie class over there, everything from their truck program down to their late model program with you and Drew Dollar, and you as well in the K&N East, with Natalie Decker and everyone in K&N East cars in and out of them. What's it been like working with your guys' crew chiefs? You guys have brothers as your crew chiefs as well, Seth and Derek Smith. What's it just been like being over there, being in the shop, especially with, your guys' knowledge not being so much of stock cars?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a learning curve for me. I can pretty much tell you exactly how everything works on a pro stock car, and don't know much about an asphalt, car at all. But Seth's been great. Me and him are kind of like both pretty quiet. I feel like he's just now starting to loosen up around me, which is fun. He's got a really cool personality, and he's a really cool dude to be around, and awesome to work with. I mean, I feel like he puts a lot of trust and confidence in me, and I think that's ultimately what it takes to be good.
Yeah, me and Derek hit it off from day one for sure. That's definitely the favorite crew chief I've ever had, but he's great. It's just awesome to work with him. He's really smart with the late model stuff, and definitely really good.
Good old Smith boys. They've helped really create and fine-tune a lot of drivers, such like Todd Gill, and we've seen him work with Anthony Alfredo and a lot of the other drivers. So DGR's definitely got something figured out with fine-tuning these drivers and bringing up through the ranks. But when we get back, we will sit down and talk some more with the Gray brothers here and even preview the action this up-and-coming weekend at Bristol here on MRN's NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, purchase 5 quarts of Valvoline full synthetic motor oil and a Wix filter for $33.99. Plus, get a $10 O'Reilly gift card by mail and earn double O Rewards points. Improve engine performance with Valvoline full synthetic at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Whelen designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications. On the road, in the air, and around the world, Whelen is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen Engineering. Here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network, presented by Hercules Tires. We're still joined by the Gray brothers here, Tanner and Taylor. Two drivers making a name for themselves in the world of stock car racing. We talked a little bit before the break about the dynamic over at DGR, and something I want to touch on even furthermore there is David. I've gotten the opportunity to work with David earlier in my super late model racing career, but something that sets him apart, I think, from a lot of team owners is how hands-on he is with his drivers, and he's got a lot of experience in comparison to other team owners. Has he been someone that you guys have leaned on or relied on or even got a chance to pick their brains?
Yeah, 100%. Especially for me. David's great. I mean, I really don't think you could ask for someone, much better than what he does. I mean, he came straight from Texas after watching Todd, caught a red eye, flew out to Irwindale, and watched me the next night. So, I don't think there's a lot of guys out there that would be willing to do that, but he's one of them. I think it's awesome. I mean, he'll get in the car, help me out, help me with different changes, tell me what they should feel like, stuff like that, that I think, most rookie drivers want just to help build their confidence up. And he's definitely been someone that I lean on a lot, ask a lot of questions, and just try to soak up as much stuff from him as I can.
Yeah, David's awesome. By far the best driver coach I've ever had. But yeah, it's like what he said. Whenever I got my win at Hickory, he came straight from Martinsville and came and watched me. And it's definitely it's a dream to have him as a driver coach, and it's really awesome.
And a happy late birthday to you, David Gilliland, as well. I saw that they brought cake and cupcakes into the shop, and he wasn't even there to celebrate, and I am for that. It's just a great excuse to have cake and cupcakes in the race shop. But third-generation drag racers, realistically, you guys, Grandpa Johnny Gray and your dad, Shane Gray, What's it been like with them, really being out of their element so much with NASCAR? I mean, has there been insight? Have they been able to help you guys down this route of stock car racing?
Not so much down the stock car racing stuff. They've been really good. About just being there and being supportive and being everything that you'd want out of a dad and a grandpa. The drag racing stuff, they helped me out, a lot. And that was awesome to have my dad as a driver coach and, as well as my grandpa. So I think it's been a little bit different for them over here on the stock car side because they're not as hands-on. But I know my grandpa is definitely enjoying that, just being able to sit back and kind of be grandpa and watch. I think my dad's ready to do something, but yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, I never really got the chance to have my dad or my grandpa as a driver coach, but it's awesome to have them there and be supportive. And Dad's already wanting to get in a super late model and test it out, so he's anxious to get in one for sure.
I'm sure they could probably find one somewhere around the DGR Crosley shop. There seems to be cars and trucks aplenty around that race shop if you haven't been there. But Taylor, let's talk about this upcoming weekend. You've got Orange County Raceway coming up. It's one of the biggest staple marks on the Cars Tour. Little nervous? Have you had a chance to maybe test at Orange County, or what are your thoughts going into what is the biggest race of the season for that tour?
Yeah, we're really excited. I think we've got a really good baseline setup. Kind of Hickory kind of bounces off of Orange County setup-wise, and we have a really good setup for Hickory. So I think we're really prepared for Orange County this weekend, and we're going in there for sure, guns blazing, 100%.
And you've got your teammate Drew Dollar, who's also a rookie as well. What's it been like learning the ropes of late model stock racing with him as a teammate?
Yeah, it's awesome. He's actually starting to move towards K&N full-time, so he won't be there this weekend, but just going to be me and all my crew guys. We've got Derek Smith and Clay Rogers and all those guys on my car, so definitely be really good.
Orange County, definitely one of my favorite racetracks on the Cars Tour. Provides always really good racing, especially for those late model stocks. I love my super late models, but ever since I moved to the East Coast, the late model stocks are starting to grow on me a little bit. But we also preview the K&N East. They're back in action this up-and-coming weekend after almost a month being off. The last race was New Smyrna at the beginning of February. Bristol, though. You've never turned laps at Bristol before. It's probably the most intimidating racetrack on the tour. Any apprehensions, a little nervous going into, the Coliseum?
Not so much yet. Probably when we get ready to strap in for practice, I'll probably be a little bit nervous. But no, it's awesome. I got to go there and check it out and just look at the racetrack. And, before I did that, I think it was like a month and a half ago, I'd never even seen the place. So, yeah, I'm really excited for it. It looks fun. It looks like it's my kind of place, real fast and be pretty aggressive. So I'm looking forward to it, and it should be a lot of fun.
It's pretty much like drag racing, right? You just go down one end and then hope you make it through the corner, and then you drag race back down the other end at Bristol.
Exactly.
Man, oh man. Yeah, it'll be a good time. Last question here for you guys. Brothers. I've raced against my brother. Have you guys had a chance to race against each other yet? In any form or facet, have you guys raced against each other yet?
We did it at Hickory when he won.
Okay, so if you had to describe the other brother's driving style and competitiveness, how would you do it? And I guess speak carefully here, right? Because there's a good chance that you could be in a car again with each other.
Tanner's competitiveness is always 100% for sure. He's the most competitive person I've ever met in my life. But he's definitely learning for sure. He's doing a great job and on everything. It was unfortunate that he ran out of fuel at Hickory, but it happens. I think we had like half a gallon left whenever we won, so it was definitely close on fuel.
He's good. I think he's a lot better than we thought he was going to be at a younger age. Like when we'd watch him around Millbridge, he was just so timid and laid back, and he was so into just being around it and working on the cars, and never really seemed like he had much interest in driving until a couple years ago. We watched him run limited late models with Lee Falk at Hickory, and we were like, dang, he's good. He's super smooth, picks up on things really fast, never makes the same mistake twice, and always seems to be learning. So he's definitely going to be good, especially with how young he is and how fast he's progressing, I think he's got a good future ahead of him.
That was always me. I was the spastic aggressive one that they were like, okay. And then my brother was like there at the end for some reason. And you'd be like, how's the kart? It's good. And we're like, you're 12th in practice. And then he'd qualify faster than me. I'm like, where did this, whatever.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, racing with family, it always creates good memories. Well, awesome. Good luck this weekend, guys. Thank you so much for coming in, joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. I'll see you at Bristol. I will be there all weekend with the K&N. And good luck this weekend up at Orange County.
Thank you.
Awesome. When we return on NASCAR Coast to Coast, we'll preview the up-and-coming weekend and also who won this past weekend at short tracks across America.
Whelen designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications on the road, in the air, and around the world. Whelen is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform.
Cameras, but not the click of any camera taking any picture. That's the sound of thousands of Toyota racing fans, one after another getting a shot of their car. Whether their car belongs to Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin, or Matt DiBenedetto, this is the moment that captures the Camry before it goes on to write NASCAR history and accomplish the completely amazing. Clinching first place at Kentucky Speedway, sweeping Richmond, or shaking off that rookie status with a massive win at Daytona. So, if this sound reminds you of not one, but 2 championships, you're family now. 2018 was a great season for the Toyota Racing family. Better buckle up for 2019. Follow us at toyotaracing.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark for the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen Engineering. Here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
Another one of NASCAR's International Touring Series kicked off this past weekend as the NASCAR Mexico Peak Series started their season off, but it was Ruben Garcia Jr., the last year's defending champion, who found his way back into victory lane as he plans to contend for not only the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East Championship with Rev Racing, but also the NASCAR Peak Mexico Series Championship. So busy year ahead for Ruben Garcia. Also this weekend's past winners, Peyton Sellers wins at South Boston in the late model stock tour, but it wasn't without a little bit of chaos between NASCAR national champions Lee Pulliam and Philip Morris. Also this weekend, Landon Huffman and Chris Hudspeth split twin 40 victories over at the Hickory Motor Speedway, and Tyler Tanner, as Evergreen Speedway kicked off their season, found his way into victory lane in the super late model division. Lots of racing on tap this up-and-coming weekend, though. We talked about it a little bit earlier. The K&N Pro Series East will roll into Bristol Motor Speedway after almost a month off, their last race being at New Smyrna Speedway at the beginning of February. Plenty of drivers making, whether it's their debut, as Rafael Lessard is doing the first time behind the wheel of a K&N Pro Series East car. Plenty of experience in a super late model, but Lessard will make his debut this weekend at Bristol. You'll also see names like Tyler Tanner or Taylor. Wow. Can I start that over? Okay. You'll also see names like Tanner Gray, who will be behind the wheel of that DGR Crosley machine this up-and-coming weekend. Lots of action with the K&N Pro Series East, as they will be one of the headline races Saturday night up at Bristol. Thompson, the icebreaker, also slated this up-and-coming weekend for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. I was there last spring and absolutely froze, but luckily for them, it is supposed to be nice weather, 60 plus, and it is cold here as it snowed this week in April here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So Kyle Rickey, my co-host, will have all things covered probably up at Thompson as the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour goes there. I will be at Bristol covering the K&N Pro Series East. We'll have short track racing covered. You can follow us on Twitter at MRN Coast to Coast for all things happening with NASCAR Coast to Coast. For Brian Yesowich, Craig Moore, I'm Hannah Newhouse. We'll see you next week on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Has been brought to you by Whelen Engineering. For more NASCAR Coast to Coast episodes, go to MRN.com or your favorite podcast provider. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.